The disrespect is getting out of hand. Based off a brand new article published on ESPN, one of the star players, if not the star player for this Miami Heat organization, was ranked in the bottom 35. I'm here to break down Tyler Herro's ranking and how the disrespect is simply out of control up to this point. We'll break down the ranking as well as comparing him to some of the guys ranked way higher than him in this article. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, please do remember, if you're a part of the percentage watching this video and you want to stay up to date with everything Miami Heat as the regular season is quickly approaching, scroll down and click the subscribe button, as nearly 80% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed. We do appreciate the love and support, so thank you guys for everything. But now let's get to it and break down unreal levels of disrespect for Tyler Herro, one of the, if not the key guy on this Miami Heat organization. Now, I understand if this was 2 years earlier and Tyler Herro got this ranking, I wouldn't bat an eye. And the reason being is because he hadn't matured entirely, at least not to the level we had saw him play last season. We saw him take on more of a ball handling role on this Miami Heat team, and it wasn't just in the sense of finding shots for himself, but facilitating, setting up the offense in the half court, something that he did at such a high level that really looked like it unlocked this Miami Heat team. Now, granted, did it take Jimmy Butler being traded out of Miami for this to really come into fruition? Yes, without a doubt, but still, Tyler Herro went out there and he performed at a high level on a team that was really written off post-trade, or really even before that, when the entire Jimmy Butler saga was taking place, where we knew we had a disgruntled all-star in Miami. The bridges were burning between Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra and Mickey Arison, the rest of this front office involved in Miami, and things really just collapsed for Miami. But despite that, Tyler Herro, Bam Adebayo, and the rest of this Miami Heat team fought and scrapped to the end. Yes, they did get into the play-in, and yes, they did make their way through the play-in and get bounced in the first round. I understand. It wasn't the prettiest visual last season, but if we're taking away individual rankings and putting them into a form of expectation going into next season, how does Tyler Herro end up ranking 68th on a list out of 100? Now, we're going to break down a few things. The first thing, this is the original article. This will be tagged down below. Once you get to this article on ESPN, there's a bunch of hyperlinks that take you to the different brackets of rankings. This is obviously 1 through 10. It then breaks down to 11 through 50, and then 51 through 100. Obviously, Tyler Herro being ranked 68th, you have to go to 51 out of 100 to then find Tyler Herro's ranking in the little jot that they wrote about him. Now, I will say there's another section to this article that we're going to break down that gives us a little hope that this ranking is a known blemish on this article. And what do I mean? Well, before we get into the actual breakdown of Tyler Herro and why he was ranked 68th, he's injured. Yes. Is he going to miss the first month of the NBA season? Yes. He had his foot surgery, in the last 10 days for this Miami Heat organization after cortisone shots and other supplements did not relieve the pain and discomfort for Tyler Herro. Now, that did take place in the timetable that we were told was 8 weeks. That is what we reported on this channel when the surgery initially took place. Again, just over a week ago. He's going to be able to come back roughly around November 18th, November 19th. If he does return on the 18th, he will play for the Miami Heat against the New York Knicks in a major Eastern Conference battle. As we know, that has been a great matchup over the last decade plus between these two organizations. But besides that, yes, despite missing the first month of the NBA season, how are you still going to rank Tyler Herro as low as 68 with other players way above him that simply should not. There's no way around it. So I'm jumping all over the place. Before we break down what was actually written for Tyler Herro, I'm going to give you some names that were ranked above Tyler Herro in this article. So again, Tyler Herro was ranked 68th. Then you had Jalen Suggs at 59, Austin Reeves at 60, Christian Braun at 62, Aaron Nesmith at 65. Lauri Markkanen, 43. OG Anunoby at 41. Aaron Gordon at 40. Darius Garland at 38. Now, I understand if you want to make the argument that Darius Garland is a better basketball player in the current context, in the sense of the team he plays for and them being obviously better in the sense of roster compared to roster, in Cleveland compared to Miami. I understand that. But that's not how this is being broken down. This is being broken down in an individual format, in the sense of player versus player. Tyler Herro and Darius Garland, in my honest opinion, and I understand there may be a form of assumed bias here. Let's just call a spade a spade. Darius Garland is a great guard, arguably has the quickest first step in the league, but you can't tell me he's 30 spots better than Tyler Herro, especially off of what we witnessed from both sides, Darius Garland and Tyler Herro, last season. So again, that was the quick thing that I just had to address because I didn't want to forget to do it before we get into all this actual verbiage from the article. So again, this is what this is what we got in the excerpt for Tyler Herro and his ranking behind at 68. Last season, Herro bounced back from an injury to have his most efficient and best playmaking season, and he has a bright light on a Heat team that endured Jimmy Butler's daily turbulence and Bam Adebayo's overall down season. He'll have to overcome a similar hurdles in 2025-2026 after undergoing surgery this offseason that will keep him sidelined at the start. There are times when his offense in shot-heavy play can feel like empty calories, especially when the Heat had their worst season in a decade, and that is written by Brian Windhorst, one, if not the most notable basketball analyst covering the game today. And I understand how that makes a lot of sense. But with that being said, and with the production we witnessed last season in the overall projections for this up-and-coming regular season, how is Tyler Herro this far on the list? If missing the first month, if not even the first month of the regular season drops you this far, why wouldn't we just go, why would Joel Embiid be ranked as high as he was? I know he wasn't in the top 15 or 20, but again, being higher than Tyler Herro, Joel Embiid's played what? 20 games in the last 2 years, and I know I'm over-exaggerating to some extent, but the idea is the same. He cannot find himself on the basketball court, and despite that, he finds himself ranked very, very high on these lists in comparison to guys like Tyler Herro and others like Aaron Gordon and Christian Braun, who are great complementary players. But in an individual aspect, when it comes down to impact players, yes, the moments that those two players have and others have in specific moments that really feel like they're pushing the needle for their teams is great and all. But when it comes down to it, these guys who are maintaining the top 10 rankings in Jalen Brunson, in Nikola Jokic, and obviously Victor Wembanyama and LeBron James, and these other guys that rounded out the top 10, they're impact players. Yes, the play and the overall production and the efficiency is there, but they're maintaining that spot because of the impact and the role they play in this league and for their team specifically. Tyler Herro was that guy last year. He has been that guy for Miami for the last few years. Yes, has he been a has he been a Robin to a Batman, whether it be Jimmy Butler or Bam Adebayo? Absolutely. But since the beginning of last season, it has been clearly Tyler Herro's show. And he hasn't done anything outside of just expand his game and really just improve his game in different ways and different capacities, not only to improve himself individually, but this team as a whole. And I understand things didn't work out statistically last year, with arguably their worst offensive year in the last decade plus. But look what they were dealing with. You had Tyler Herro leading the way with a wingman in Bam Adebayo who was non-existent. Jimmy Butler created a lot of distraction in that locker room, who then was sent away. And you brought in new players like Andrew Wiggins and others who had to learn on the fly and fit into a role that, yes, they can fit in other teams, but in a Miami Heat organization that has an established culture that is drastically different from anyone else in the league, it's just a bit harsh in my opinion. So, to wrap up this video, there's something that we have to address, and that is the fact that what we mentioned earlier, ESPN feels like this is a blemish on their own article, and despite producing it and publishing it, they went on to NBA Ranked 2025 biggest snubs and surprises from the new top 100. And in this, we got a bunch of notable names like Bobby Marks and others who went on to go out and address some of these rankings. In the top two little excerpts that we got, one from Bobby Marks, the best mind when it comes to the NBA finance side of things. He can break down the cap in, it feels like, 50 languages and make anyone understand it. He can break it down in an elementary version or in a just He can break it down in any way you need. He's very, very good at what he does. He is the guy when it comes to the finances of the NBA. He is also a very notable mind in general covering the game of basketball. And he goes on to say the disrespect to Tyler Herro at number 68. Yes, Herro will be out for the early part of the regular season with a foot injury, but this is a player who has been selected to an All-Star team last season for a fourth straight campaign. Herro averaged at least 20 points, and he finished with the 2024-2025 season with 5 games of at least 35 points and a career-best 47.2% mark from the field and 5.5 assists per game, while he played a career high of 77 games last season. The idea there just rounds out the entire conversation we've had through the entirety of this video. He was active. The best ability is availability. And that was something that we needed from Tyler Herro last year because of the injuries he's dealt with through the entirety of his young career. He played 77 out of 82 regular season games last year. And despite all the distractions that we addressed earlier, he went out there, I don't want to continue to repeat myself, but he went out there and improved his game, not only for himself, but the team as a whole. I think this ranking is just abusively wrong for Tyler Herro. And again, there was another expert here. If you'd like to go read any of this, I will tag it down below. Herro's being paid $31 million. He's in the final year of his contract. There's a lot of conversations about a contract extension. And if Tyler Herro goes out there and does anything remotely similar in the sense of leading this team, specifically offensively, with 23 plus points per game while averaging 5 plus assists and being respectable on the defensive end. I'm not asking him to be Tony Allen or Devion Mitchell, but go out there and don't get picked on. Don't be the leading guard that is used in pick and rolls this season. And he should be in the top 25. And I know that seems crazy with other great names in the league, but like OG Anunoby, I look at these comparisons. It is just crazy to me to think that this is how some of these play out. And then Bam Adebayo, just quickly wrap up this video, was ranked 21. Last year, Bam Adebayo was just a shell of himself, without a doubt. And it was unfortunate to watch. It was just abusive for the Miami Heat Nation because they needed Bam to be the guy everyone had hopes and expectations for, and he was not that. And despite that, there is just a large amount of expectations, once again, as there should be for Bam Adebayo, but with that, he gets a ranking in the top 25. I think this is craziness. I think this ESPN list is entirely flawed for these two reasons in particular. Let me know down below your overall just ideas and reasoning behind this entire list, whether you agree, whether you disagree. And I will see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest.